When she said it, she didn't even cry. We were sitting on the couch, the same one we bought together 2 years ago from IKEA after arguing for 45 minutes about the color. She chose gray, said it was neutral and grown up. Funny how that word, neutral, fits her perfectly now. She looked straight at me, calm, almost detached, and said, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you. You're my favorite person, just not the one." It was like she'd rehearsed it. Each word measured, deliberate, like she wanted to sound kind, but not too kind, in case kindness gave me hope. I just sat there, my hands still covered in dish soap. I'd been washing the plates from dinner when she called me over to talk. I wiped my hands on the towel, looked at her, and said quietly, "Got it. That was it." No begging, no shouting, just those 2 words. Because in that moment, I realized something. She wasn't confused. She was finished. And you can't negotiate with finished. The ring was in the top drawer of my dresser, tucked behind a stack of old receipts and a pair of cufflinks I'd worn once. I'd picked it out 3 weeks earlier, after 3 years together. It wasn't extravagant, just simple, elegant, the kind of thing she'd always said she liked. She never found it, and I never gave it. That night, after she went to bed, I opened that drawer and looked at it one last time. The small velvet box felt heavier than it should have. Not from the metal inside, but from what it meant. All the plans, the quiet mornings, the house hunting tabs still open on my laptop. I closed the drawer slowly, like sealing off a version of my life that no longer existed. We didn't break up right then. That was the strange part. She said she needed time, wanted to figure things out. So we kept living together, like roommates with shared ghosts. We still watched the same shows, but the laughter was hollow. We still made dinner, but the silence stretched longer each night. We still slept in the same bed, though eventually, she started turning her back to me. Then came the nights when she stayed late at work. Then the ones when she didn't come home at all. I didn't ask where she was, because deep down, I already knew. 2 weeks later, we sat down to pay the bills, like we always did. But this time, I split everything down the middle. "Your half," I said, sliding her portion toward her. "Mine's already paid." She blinked, clearly thrown off. "You don't have to." "No," I interrupted calmly. "I do." She didn't argue, just nodded and quietly folded the paper. That's when it hit me. She liked this version of me. The detached, responsible version. The one who didn't ask for explanations. The one who let her drift away without resistance. And for a while, that's what I became. Friends started noticing the change. I'd get messages, "You okay, man?" Or "You've been quiet lately." I'd say I was fine. That's what you say when you've stopped expecting anyone to fix it. Then, one night, a friend, Jake, invited me out for drinks. "Come on, dude, you need a break. Let's get you out of that apartment." I went. We ended up at a dim little bar downtown, the kind where time doesn't matter and the lights make everyone look better than they feel. A few beers in, Jake leaned closer, dropped his voice, and said, "Listen, man, I wasn't going to say anything, but you should know why she's been distant." I remember the way the air shifted in that moment, like everything in the room suddenly slowed down. He hesitated, then said, "It's someone from her office." "You didn't hear that from me." I didn't react, didn't throw my drink, didn't storm out. I just nodded. Because when someone says, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you," they're already preparing you for someone else. Jake kept talking, something about late nights, chemistry, whispers at work, but I stopped listening. All I could think about was the ring still sitting in that drawer, the same one I hadn't opened since that night. And for the first time since she said those words, I finally understood. It wasn't about love fading. It was about love being redirected. That night, I went home, opened the drawer, and took out the ring. I held it for a long time, turning it over in my hand, watching how it caught the light, like it still wanted to be beautiful, even when it wasn't wanted anymore. Then I put it back, closed the drawer again, and made myself a promise. The next time I buy a ring, it'll be for someone who never makes me guess if I'm enough. It's strange how two people can live under the same roof and feel like strangers. By week 4, that's exactly what we were. Two ghosts orbiting the memory of something that used to feel alive. She still left her coffee mug in the sink every morning. Still hummed that same stupid pop song while doing her makeup. Still texted me when she needed something fixed, even though she'd stopped texting just to talk. It was like she'd built a wall, brick by brick, out of politeness. I didn't try to climb it. I just started building my own. We started scheduling our lives around each other without even saying it. She worked late. I stayed later at the gym. She took the car. I started walking. We both avoided being home at the same time. Every time we crossed paths, it was all surface-level conversation. Did you pay the electric bill? Yeah. Okay. And then silence. Always silence. One evening, I got home early. She wasn't supposed to be there, but she was sitting on the couch, dressed up, hair done, heels on. She looked beautiful in that detached, untouchable way. When she saw me, her face froze for half a second before she smiled. Oh, hey, you're back early. Yeah, didn't feel like staying late tonight. She hesitated, glancing at her phone. I'm just heading out. Company dinner thing. I nodded. Right. Have fun. As she grabbed her purse, something fell out. A small folded paper. She reached for it quickly, but I'd already seen the corner of it. Hotel logo. Date. Room number. Our eyes met, and for a split second, the air was thick with truth neither of us wanted to say. Then she smiled again. That fake soft smile people use when they're already halfway gone. I'll see you later, okay? Sure, I said. Whenever. And just like that, she walked out the door. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I was angry. I wasn't. Not even hurt, really. What I felt was relief. Relief that I finally had proof that it wasn't my fault. That it wasn't about me not being the one. It was about her chasing something new, something that made her feel alive again, even if it meant burning what we'd built to the ground. I sat at the kitchen table until sunrise, staring at the small ring box I'd taken out again. The house was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the echo of what used to be laughter. I didn't cry. I just whispered to myself, I hope he makes you feel what I used to. Over the next few weeks, she started packing in stages. A few clothes here, some makeup there. Then the framed photos disappeared. Every time I noticed something missing, I felt lighter. She didn't officially move out until mid-March. She left a note on the counter. You're a good man. I just need something different. Please take care of yourself. No signature. No apology. Just that. People tell you that heartbreak comes with anger or sadness. For me, it came with numbness. The kind that doesn't break you, it empties you. I filled that emptiness with routine. Work, gym, sleep, repeat. Friends try to drag me out, set me up, get me back out there. But the truth was, I didn't want anyone. Not yet. Maybe not ever. It wasn't until one random Friday night, about a month later, that everything shifted. Jake texted me again. You might want to see this. He sent a photo, a candid shot someone had posted on social media. Her, sitting at a bar. The same guy from her office beside her, hand on her thigh. They looked happy, carefree, the kind of happy we used to be. Jake added, guess that difference she needed was a guy who laughs too loud and drinks too much. I didn't reply, just put my phone face down on the table and sat there for a while. Then I poured myself a glass of whiskey, took one slow sip, and smiled. Because finally, it made sense. All of it. The next day, I packed up the last few things that reminded me of her. Old notes, receipts, pictures, that goddamn candle she loved that still smelled like her perfume, and threw them out. I didn't delete her number, though. Not yet. Because I wanted to be ready when the day came that she texted me again. And deep down, I knew she would update one. It happened 2 months after she moved out. By then, I had rebuilt some kind of routine. Quiet mornings, steady workdays, long drives home with podcasts instead of texts. The silence didn't bother me anymore. It had shape now. It wasn't loneliness, it was peace. Then came that night. Jake had invited a few people to his place. Low-key Friday thing. Drinks, music, half-baked plans for a poker game that never actually happened. I almost didn't go, but he insisted, saying, You've been a ghost, man. Just one beer. No therapy talk, no heartbreak crap. So I went. And that's where I ran into her friend, Leah. Leah had always been the kind one in that group, the one who never took sides. We talked a bit during the night. Polite, easy conversation about work, travel, music. Nothing about her, until the tequila hit. Leah was 2 drinks past her limit when she leaned across the kitchen island and said, You know she told us you were controlling, right? I froze, glass halfway to my lips. Controlling? Yeah, she said, lowering her voice like it mattered now. She told everyone that you tracked her phone, checked her emails, that you made her feel suffocated. I just stared. I'd never done any of that. She laughed awkwardly, realizing what she'd just admitted. Look, I didn't believe her. Not really. But she said she needed to protect herself emotionally. That you were the reason she couldn't breathe. And then what? Leah's eyes darted away. Then she started seeing that guy from work. Around the same time. I guess it made the story sound better. For a second, I didn't even feel angry, just hollow. Because it all clicked. The hotel receipt. The sudden distance. Her rehearsed lines about needing something different. It wasn't self-discovery. It was damage control. She wasn't leaving to find herself. She was leaving to rebrand herself. Leah must have sensed she'd gone too far because she grabbed my arm. I shouldn't have said that. Please don't tell her I told you. She'll. Relax, I said quietly. You didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. But that was a lie. She had. She'd given me the missing piece. That night, I drove home slow. Didn't even turn on the radio. The city lights slid across the windshield like the world was moving on without me. Maybe it was. When I got home, I opened my laptop and pulled up an old folder. Proposal ideas. Photos, quotes, flight itineraries. All the things I'd once thought would make her happy. I stared at them for a long time before deleting the folder entirely. Click. Gone. No ceremony. No bitterness. Just closure. 2 weeks later, it happened. The text I knew would come. Her, hey. I know it's late, but I've been thinking a lot lately. Me, about what? Her, about us. About how we left things. Me, we didn't leave things. You did. There was a long pause. Then, her, can we talk? I didn't reply. She called twice that night. I didn't answer. But the next morning, she sent another message. This one hit different. I told my friends things that weren't true about you. I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that. I was scared of being the bad guy. For the first time in months, I felt something again. Not love, not hate, but pity. Pity for the version of her that thought destroying someone was easier than being honest. I typed back, thanks for the apology. I hope you find peace. And then I blocked her number. That was the moment I realized healing isn't about getting over someone. It's about reclaiming the parts of you they made you doubt. I started running again, got promoted, started sleeping through the night, and I didn't talk about her anymore. Not because it hurt, but because it finally didn't. Final update that it's been a year. A full year since that night she said, "You're my favorite person, just not the one." And maybe that's the irony. She was half right. I was her favorite person when she needed stability, comfort, safety, just not when she needed excitement, chaos, or validation. I didn't realize back then that those were two different currencies, and I'd been paying in the wrong one. Life didn't magically fix itself after she left. There was no cinematic glow-up, no perfect rebound, no look who's thriving now moment. It was slow, messy, real. I went through months where I couldn't stand silence, so I'd fall asleep to random YouTube videos just to fill the air. I deleted social media for a while because every smiling photo of someone else's perfect couple felt like salt. Then, one morning, I woke up and didn't think about her. Not once. And that was the moment I knew I'd finally healed. Not when I stopped missing her, but when she stopped being my reference point for pain. A few weeks ago, I ran into her. Completely unplanned. I was at a cafe downtown, laptop open, mid-email, when I heard someone say my name. It was her, same smile, a little faded around the edges. She looked older, not in age, but in energy. Like life had been teaching her lessons the hard way. She asked if she could sit. I said sure. We talked. Not awkwardly, surprisingly. Just calmly. She told me about her job. She'd left the company after the affair went public. Apparently, the guy got fired for conduct issues. She said she'd been freelancing, trying to find balance. I told her about work, travel, my plans to move to a new city. There was a pause, that kind that hums between two people who once knew every corner of each other's lives. Then she said softly, "You look happy." "I am," I said. "You?" She hesitated, smiled sadly. Getting there. And for the first time, I didn't feel bitterness. No spark of revenge, no satisfaction. Just empathy. She'd made her choices. I'd made mine. And in the quiet between us, I realized something simple but profound. She was never the villain. She was just lost. And for a long time, I mistook her confusion for cruelty. Before she left, she said, "I still think you were the best thing that ever happened to me." I smiled. "I think I was the best thing that ever happened to me, too." She laughed, softly, a sound I hadn't heard in a long time. Then stood up, said goodbye, and walked away. And just like that, The chapter closed itself. No grand speeches, no closure talk, no lingering what-ifs. Just silence. But this time, it didn't ache. It felt clean. Final. That night, I walked along the river downtown. The city lights shimmered across the water, and I caught my reflection. Older, maybe a little harder, but at peace. I thought about the man I used to be, desperate to please, to fix, to be chosen. Then I thought about the man sitting there now, calm, deliberate, no longer needing anyone's validation to feel whole. And I realized she hadn't broken me. She'd introduced me to the part of myself that refused to stay broken. Sometimes people leave because they're running towards something. Sometimes they leave because they're running from themselves. And sometimes they leave so both of you can finally grow into who you were supposed to be all along. I don't hate her for that anymore. In a strange way, I'm grateful. Because losing her taught me how to stop losing myself.